Big ol' Marcus.
Oh, dude.
Big ol' Marcus.
Right here, right here.
Welcome back to the Native Ways Podcast. I'm your host, Richard Ellis.
I'm your co-host, Christian Miller.
And today, as you can see, we're at a dig site with some hardcore diggers doing some good fun stuff. We're going to kind of talk about all that, talk about the site, talk about what these guys do. But before that, Christian's going to shout some people out.
Yeah, make sure you follow us on all our social medias, as we stated before. Native Ways Podcast on everything except for Snapchat, so you can find us there. We want to give a shout out to Texas Cash Magazine. Appreciate y'all's support. Also, Dancing Dogs Ranch, as always. Appreciate everybody that's been supporting us, following us. But yeah, we got some news coming with a new drop. For Richard, you want to kind of go into that?
Yeah, we got a merch drop coming in November. 4 different hat lines. Probably about to start making some shirts, and we'll drop all that stuff too. But it'll be pretty exclusive stuff. We'll notify y'all when we're dropping it. But yeah, by the time this is being heard, it's probably about time to be buying them. So, but yeah, without further ado, y'all want to introduce yourselves, talk about who you are, where you from, what you do.
So my name's Gabe, Gabriel DeLaune. Born right here in Austin, Texas, or just south of here, and lived in Leander for most of my life, or Central Texas, and worked for UPS. Been working for them for almost 20 years, and love to dig, love to do the outdoor stuff. Love you guys' podcast and everything you guys are doing. But really glad to got you guys out today.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man.
Hell yeah. And I'm John Atkinson. Grew up just right around here as well. Pretty much the same thing. Just love digging and don't really want to do anything else but dig.
What? No. I was saying, like, yeah, definitely that. I had a good time today. It was pretty fun getting on some points for, I guess you could say, the first time really actually getting into them. And I thank Gabe, thank John for that. We'll kind of get into more of that as we go throughout the episode and whatnot, and kind of talk about some different things that we found and different things that they found. But I guess if you want to give a brief overview of maybe the site, or start with that maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been here digging this site. Actually getting into the dirt for about 5 years. But before that, for 5 or 6 years, we were surface hunting, and basically the landowners here were customers of my dad a long time ago. My dad was the manager at Catfish Parlor, popular restaurant in Austin. There's south location, was a north location. Now there's one in Georgetown, but the north location where my dad worked at, one of his customers, he was talking to them and about the arrowheads. He liked to go look for them in the neighborhood that we grew up in, and which is really cool. The neighborhood I grew up in, the elementary school that I actually went to, there's a high fence barbed wire spot in the back of that, behind the elementary school on the property next to the playground, and they said it's an Indian burial ground. But any of us that have been digging long enough, anybody that says it's a burial ground, it's usually just a midden with a lot of points and burnt rock and maybe some bone. Not necessarily human bone, but anything that they were choosing to take and harvest and all that good stuff. So anyways, that neighborhood, we started looking for arrowheads. My dad was talking to his customer, and they said, hey, Tony, we used to find them all over the place when we were kids. We followed Granddad with the plow, and we used to fill buckets. So I was skeptical, but we came out here to surface hunt for the first time, and actually underneath this oak tree right here that we're sitting underneath, we parked about 10 or so years ago, and I stepped out of the truck and I found a big old pedernal space, and that's when I knew. I was like, Dad, I think they weren't lying, I think they were telling you the truth, and throughout that weekend we probably found anywhere from 50 to 65, 70 artifacts. Damn. And there are a lot of cows out here, and but so a lot of them are broke, stepped on, and all that good stuff. So But, throughout time, we'd surface hunt. I mean, for 5 or 6 years, after every rain, after a couple months of just, nothing, boredom, wanting to come out and just walk around and be out in the open and, be in nature and just be walking around and thinking about where the Indians lived, and then finally asked permission to dig a little hole. And sure enough, landowner finally was like, I don't mind. One specific thing that's always stuck with me that he said was, the more rocks you take off our property, the less we have to deal with. I'm like, dude, well, twist my arm, I'll be there, so
I'll take them all.
yeah. I mean, so very blessed and to have the opportunity to be here to do this, and after digging for so long, I mean, we've come to realize, we started off in a spot and just kind of went, okay, cool, this is a camp. And now, after 5 years of digging with a machine, we've come to realize this isn't just like one little camp. This is huge. This is, and the stuff that we're finding is that thousands and thousands and thousands of years in between. And I haven't put together how many different point types we've found, but this camp, in my opinion, has held so more so different types than most any other camps that you would go to, and that's all the way to paleo,
and wider than average variety of points from here. Absolutely.
And the material type, I mean, we find Georgetown blue mostly, 90%, 80 to 90% of the points that we find are made out of this specific type of flint. But we've also found material that's from all over the state, and even some places maybe even outside the state. So that's what's really interesting too about this camp or this village. That we've been had the opportunity to get in here and recover these artifacts. So it's this particular place, really close to a heavily used highway, probably one of the most popular highways in Texas.
That's why they were here. Yeah,
it runs north and south. That wasn't just we didn't just make that highway out of nowhere, right? I mean, like, that was a trade route before we got here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So
that was kind of a joke, but yes.
Yeah. So no, it's been.
That's
it's been an
reason
incredible
they
ride.
were here.
Right.
They're the reason we are here.
Right. We followed where
Exactly.
they were at.
Exactly.
So, John, how did you and Gabe kind of meet and kind of get going together on this stuff? I know Gabe said you've been digging the site for about 5 years, but he's been actively finding artifacts on the site for quite a bit longer. But when did you kind of step in and start helping him with digging and finding, just amazing artifacts?
Honestly, a buddy of ours, he hit up looking for a wiggle pick, and I make these wiggle picks for him, or at least I'll cut them out, like make the blanks for him, and then he'll go through and finish them. And he asked, instead of paying for him, if he could come out and dig, and instead of him coming, he wanted me to come, and showed up out here and blew my mind. Didn't know what to do with myself, to be honest with you. It was just, it was probably right before they got right into the heart of the camp, and it was just, points, just, every load, it was you didn't have enough hands, you had to sit there and you were just piling up points and just, grabbing more, and it was ridiculous, but really just from being a fabricator, and welding, build these tables, and just got out here on an invite, and everything's went north from there.
Yeah.
And so like you said, I have a fairly easy work schedule, so it's where I can move things around to accommedate
this
his.
dude doesn't work.
I can move things around.
This dude works his ass off. I'm just not employed. All right, let's get that out there. All right. These tables damn sure didn't make themselves, I'll tell you that.
Well, I can tell you that thing rips. Christian and I've talked about it pretty extensively on this podcast. I grew up hand digging. That's what got me into it. So screen digging is relatively new to me in the past few years even. But shaker digging's a whole different, first time I shaker dug was a year ago, I think. And, you know, we started at first time I ever dug on a shaker was with Ray on a peanut style. I think this is maybe the second or third vibrating table I've ever been on. This one, she gets it.
It's tuned. You know, there's a difference between just, you know, people thinking they know shaker tables and shaker tables, because it's there's a lot that goes into them, man. It's not just slapping metal together. It's been a lot of trial, a lot of error, and you know, it's we've ended up with a pretty solid
It rips.
implement.
But so y'all, how long have you been here digging this site with Gabe now? I mean, when
3 years.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah, watching the video, y'all can see aerial view of this site and just how vast it is, how much dirt's been moved in the 5 years, and I didn't go past what's been dug, but there is quite a bit past what's already been dug.
Oh yeah.
You want to kind of talk about that? Kind of talk about what you plan to do over the next few years with it, or?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, this camp, you know, like we said, not just a camp. You know, this place is huge.
We've used the phrase, it's not a stop on the road. It was the place where you were going. You know, we think it was, you know, a pretty good size encampment for quite some time.
And if you know, once you dig long enough, you see enough camps, and you dig in enough places, you start to realize, well, they only stayed here for a little bit, or they only sent, like, this was like a scout camp. Like, they were looking for food, they were looking for this, they were watching for enemies, they were
Water ran out, whatever.
Right, but
whatever it was.
You know, but this area, and also I think that there's something to this area just around the Austin, Metroplex is that with all the Colorado River, the San Gabriel, with all these other rivers that are Brushy Creek and all these other main waterways and stuff that are kind of flowing through this area of Texas, is why, you know, there's so many main prominent camps,
Right.
and it was just a place that they kept coming back to and or stayed, you know, as long as they possibly could, and so the way that this camp's set up, and it's in a big bend of a creek, and you know, we've found some camp that's gotten, you know, it's gotten into a flood layer or into the flood zone, and but the thing is we're finding the artifacts all through there. We're finding the artifacts the other direction, going out into the field.
Higher elevation,
Yes.
lower elevation, it doesn't matter.
All of it.
Yeah.
I'd say, you know, if and I don't know, you could probably figure this out with you know, the overhead of the drone, or we could probably look it up on a map and figure it out. But I mean, I'd say we're close to or over a football field, you know, of digging from one corner to the next, and then
Squared up, absolutely.
yeah, if you were to put it in a rectangle, I think, you know, you got a full football field of almost of what we've dug here, and we're really not 100% sure of where everything ends, and we know, you know, we're not going to go past the bend of the creek, but, you know, or what's on the other side of the creek.
And
up
we're
at
on the
top
low
of
side.
hill.
Yeah, we're on the low side of the creek. That's
Right.
what's, you know, you always hear, oh, the high side this, the high side that. Buddy, we in the low side.
Yeah.
And it's
So that being
It's
said,
here.
I brought a gentleman up there just 2-3 weeks ago, and I just wanted to go show him that cemetery. There's a cemetery up top, an old 1800s, early 1900s cemetery, and we went up and we were looking around kind of the barn area where this path is, and sure enough, there's a broke arrowhead in the road. So might be some testing going on up there here
Yeah.
before too long, but no, this place has like I said, it's been great to us. One thing that, you know, eventually, and we helped the landowner out, kind of making everything look nice. You know, when they want something done, you know, there's never a no.
Right.
You know, I mean, what do you say to that?
Yeah.
You know, so that's one thing that's great about this. The landowners have brought out, you know, I've had their nieces and nephews come out, and grandkids were out here one time. The thing is what we try to do is, you know, we loved coming and digging out here, you know, as much as we possibly can.
Right.
But the thing that we love next to that the most is bringing people out that don't have the opportunity to do what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, just recently, you know, we were at Pay Dig in Kempner, and and seen this gentleman out there several times, and he always got hooked up with this older gentleman or somebody that just wasn't into it. And man, his side of the table was clean, and he's waiting for this guy for 10 minutes to,
Right.
and he's not getting his money's worth, and you could tell he's a little frustrated. The last time I kind of went, hey man, why don't you just message me? And I gave him myself. I was like, hit me up sometime. We'll see.
You want to see something crazy?
Yeah, I did. I was like, man, if you want to find some points, you want to get into them, just hit me up and I'll figure it out. And sure enough, man, he hit me up.
Have you ever heard of a non-pay dig?
Yeah, he has a little restaurant in Robinson. Cool dude, and came out and dude blew his mind.
Really?
He was like, holy, this is how many artifacts are coming out. I was like, yeah, man, like.
He got pulled over on the way here because he was in such a hurry to get here.
Really?
Yeah, he did.
He's going 100 and a 75.
He sure did.
Dang.
Cop wrote it for 99.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yep.
We were in a hurry to get here this morning, but we didn't do no 100.
No, not this morning.
But that's one thing. I mean, we had we like to share the opportunity.
Yeah.
And to see the joy and to see, man, and I mean, like, I know y'all know how it is because y'all found some today and you found them before. But man, when you find a good point,
Oh, yeah.
it's and everybody, oh man, like that's such a good, cool feeling. And then you start thinking like, man, like, what were they about to kill
Right.
with this? What was, and you just want to think like, how big was the stick that it was attached to, or whatever. You just kind of start thinking about what they were doing and how they were living and all this other stuff. And
That was
and
a group of guys just like us, essentially, out there.
Yeah.
You know, and that was one of our blades. You just those were the tools that they had.
Right.
And it's a lot more than just rocks. It's a technology.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, is their life. I mean, their life depended on these tools. and-
depended on it, absolutely.
like Gabe was saying, that's one of the coolest things, and we talked about it today while digging and stuff, like going site to site, seeing the different occupations, seeing what the soil's like, seeing the material, seeing the processing of the material, what they were making, because you'll go to some camps and you're finding killer after killer, but there's hardly any debitage. Then you go to a camp like today where you're finding killers and tons of debitage. Go to another one, you're finding a bunch of debitage and nothing.
yeah.
So it's cool to see it, and
then you find middens that don't have a damn thing in it.
Right.
I mean, I've seen middens that you will not find a .1.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. It's just literally nothing. And that's the gamble. It's you never know until you bust into it.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it the thrill is the mystery behind everything.
Exactly. How good is this going to pay off?
Yeah. Everything's different too.
Yep.
Yeah, every site's different. Every piece you touch, I mean, it's its own piece. And like Gabe was saying, you find one and then you start to think, like, first you're like, damn, this thing's badass. But then you start to think about the badass that made it and why they made it and what the use was for. I mean, I've got some that I look at them and I'm like, man, I don't think I would have used this if I made this. Like, I'd have been putting this somewhere and looking at this.
Honestly, sometimes I think we find some that are so nice that I think they thought that same
Yeah,
darn
it's just
thing.
like a nice pocket knife or a nice watch.
They probably made 100 of these Pertinalis points, but then they made that one and went, well, maybe I'll hold on to this one for a special moment.
Yeah, that's my special
It
occasion.
was like it was a jig. It was
Yeah.
like, all right, all of them need to look just like this right here.
Yeah, here's the example.
Yeah, set this sucker up over there, and
Yes.
all y'all kids, y'all try and make that right there.
So
And that's another thing, is how much more advanced certain cultures were than other cultures. You see flaking on certain, from certain areas that are just exquisite, and then you can go down the road and nothing but pooters, and it's crazy how much different some of these people were, but they were all the same, all in the same time,
Yeah, and like we were talking about earlier, I mean, I don't know if y'all were joking or not, but you'll see, purds, there's so many variations of purds and Ocalas, and like you were talking about, maybe the Ocala here is the Yewa of, the Elgin Bastrop area. So to see the technology change as the culture shifted throughout the region is interesting. We talk about it quite often on here. We talked about it with Gene extensively. The different types they had there and different variations of specific types, things like that. And I mean, y'all have on this site specifically today. We found, I don't know, probably 15 different types. I would think.
paleo to
Yeah.
to
Yeah, even that little snakehead angle all the way to the birds and
no birds today, but
no bird points, but still,
Yeah, but we got up into woodland stuff with the fairlands and a split
Darls.
tail, some
Yep.
darls.
Yep.
So I mean, it covered everything today, and
And
we
that's
didn't.
that's the other thing. Split tail ensers, frios,
Yeah.
just the line,
Right. Right. Yeah, that's one that I've I mean, you can look at some frios and be like, okay, this is a frio, and then you can look at some split tails and you're like, yeah, this is definitely a split tail. But then there's some you're like, man, if I'm not in Coryell County, this isn't a split tail.
Oh, even some
Right.
from this camp, we've gone. It looks like a frio to me,
Right.
But based on where we're at, nobody's gonna,
Right.
it's all split tail enser. But
Yeah.
Who's to say somebody didn't walk with that thing? I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, they could have
There's-
traded them up.
Just because
or-
it started there doesn't mean it finished there.
Right.
But
So y'all been digging the site together for about 3 years now, probably?
yeah, about 3 years. Started. See, when John first came out here, we were using his tractor. That was fun. A little tough to dig with the little, the 4 foot. What was it, 4 foot or 5 foot bucket?
it's probably 5 foot.
5 foot bucket. Yeah. I don't think it had any teeth on it, and
Oh, yeah.
we were just chugging along one little scoop at a time, and
I kept saying, "Oh, I'll get a skid steer. I'll get a skid steer." And ended up getting a skid steer, and
2 years later.
2 years later, you
No,
get outta
he
here.
did. No,
Get
2 years
outta
later,
here.
he's got 2 skid steers. So. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
A little bit of an upgrade.
Yeah.
Told you I like to dig.
So, in those 3 years, I mean, I know that I've seen things from the site during those 3 years just on Facebook stuff. People know who you are and know of the site. But what are some of the most significant finds that maybe y'all have had or people y'all brought out have had? I mean, just from the site alone, what are some of the pieces that y'all can think back to, how they were found, stuff like that?
There's a lot of stuff that's really, caught our eye, just different. Like that piece I showed you, and we can get a screenshot of it, but it's basically a piece of cortex of some flint, but they absolutely use the other side to maybe, I don't know, looks like sharpen something. And I've got like 4 or 5 of those. Curtis Malick was out hand digging not long ago, found one. Same day he found that, he found the little etch piece, he found a little polished piece of hematite.
Really?
Yeah. Right over where we first drive into the site, and still an active area,
And then that little wishbone pendant that I've got, that comes to mind for me.
John found a pendant that's got, it's a rectangle, but it expands as it gets to the top, and it's got one hole in it. It's a whole pendant, but it's only maybe an inch and a quarter.
Found it on that
big.
shaker. I mean, it
Really?
was running, and I seen it come down and seen that drilled hole, and I knew. I mean, it was points are everywhere. The more so jewelry or whatever you want to call it, pendants. Those type of artifacts to me are just a lot more. I don't know, not even more rare, just
Interesting.
more
Yeah.
meaningful.
Yeah.
And the fact that it survived, I mean, a lot of this bone that, especially in a camp where we're at here in this area of Texas with all this rock and just the way things just kind of deteriorate, you're not expecting, to find a bone pendant or something like that, and in such great shape too,
Right.
and it's polished. It's an incredible piece.
So it's made of bone? Yeah. Damn.
So, there's, as far as significance of sites, of significance of points, a lot of people will closely look at what kind of paleo points have come out, and there's one paleo point that me and John both have believe, and I've got other folks that are deep into the artifact community have looked at it, held it, and said this is a Clovis.
Really?
And we've gone back and forth, Plainview and Clovis, but the way that it is made and how thin the point is, there's no way there was any more fluting going on with that. And there is a small flute on one side on the bottom. And if they were to try to strike that thing one more time, it was going to break.
Yeah.
There's without a doubt in my mind. Like, and anybody that's held it, I mean, it is super thin. But, you know, being so close to, like, the Galt site and knowing that, you know, Clovis is the first, you know, what they consider, what archaeologists consider the first people in America type deal. That's what you know makes it significant, and that's not the only paleo point, right? So we found plenty of paleo come out of here, a lot of broke, but a few whole ones.
Yeah.
That, you know, so this is absolutely, you know, this was inhabited, you know, 12, 13, 14,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So
And
we're
whatever
sitting.
that piece was in the cache, I just came across that picture.
Yes, and then there was that cache that we found. There was a pretty significant paleo point that had come out there.
All day,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like an ESL or something.
That's
hard
what
to tell, man.
that's what a lot of folks were saying. ESL or possibly a agate basin
Yeah.
was another term for that. But the
And that was in a
paleo
cat.
points-
That was in the cache.
That was in a cache with other points that are not in that time period. So
Really?
how
Yeah.
or why?
And even some of the work on the points that are supposed to be from that time period, don't look like it's.
There's another paleo looking point that looks like it was paleo turned in, and then they reworked it into a big stem base. It almost I can't even really tell you exactly what the type would be, but that one and it so
yeah.
the deal is it's got a big flute.
Really?
Yeah, it's not and not from the top. It's not an impact fracture. It starts at the middle and is going down like it was an old paleo, and then they just sat there and notched a base into it.
Huh.
So pretty wild to think, you know, the different cultures that came back and then picked up, you know, the little pieces
Right.
of flint that are all out here and then reworked them.
Right.
And I know you guys saw this, but as all these pieces of flint are coming down the screen, you're picking them up going, I think that's worked a little bit. I think that's worked a little bit. Well, yeah, I mean, I think all these pieces, you know, or not all of them, but a lot of them were picked back up and then, you know, made another point out of this little
Yeah.
one, made out another point out of this ball.
Bust a little knife out.
So, but the paleo stuff is you know, really significant, you know.
And andice.
for
Yeah,
out
he's
here.
got a whole frame of partial andices, you know, I think 12, 14 or so, you know.
12. Yeah, it's about 12 to 14.
All from here.
I didn't bring those, but yeah.
One is like a blunted andice,
Yep.
and it's a cool piece, and I mean they were definitely here.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
So what over the past 5 years, would you say there is a prominent culture here, one that is more widespread through the occupation? Because I know, like today, like we'd hit some spots and there'd be some Montels come out, and then we'd pop over here and there'd be some Purds coming out, then we'd come over here and we'd start hitting Ocalas, things like that.
Absolutely.
So is there one type that kind of is through it all?
I think there's a few that you could say are pretty dominant here as far as, you know, maybe had the longest span of living here or you know, what you would think as far as, you know, culture wise. But I at one point took a 5-gallon bucket of brokes and I started separating them into types and I started bagging them up. And the first bag that got full and overflowing was the Purd bag, which makes sense. You know, and anytime you talk to anybody about digging, they're going to tell you Purds are the most common, either that or Purdees.
Yeah.
You know, and between those two, a lot of times the people will say those are the most common points, you know, in Texas.
Yeah.
And so I truly believe that just based on my little, and it wasn't a study. I wasn't trying to figure out what
Right.
I had more of. I
Right.
was trying to just separate so that if I wanted to study a certain type, I could go back and look at this bag and go, man, all these came from this one site. This is all the different variations, kind of like what you said earlier. You know, there's
Yeah.
so many different variations of bird. There's so many different variations of Ocala. There's so many different, you know, and so to go back and be able to look at all that from one camp, I think is pretty special and you know, really cool to be able to do, and gives you a lot more knowledge, you know, when you go on to other, you know, places, and you know, I've seen that type before. I've seen something like that before. I remember that one time, you know, I remember that one point that we couldn't, you know, really put a, you know, but I've seen that before, and so you know, just get a little bit of knowledge by experience.
Right.
And I'd say second on my list is absolutely the Ocala. That's not only is it my favorite, but there's been a lot of them.
I was gonna
A
have
lot
something
of
to say on this, but he pretty much covered everything. So, if Blades is a third, you know, been a lot of Blades.
Got a lot of blades. Yeah.
A lot of broke ones, but they're still.
There was a broke one today.
Oh yeah! Wow, that bass thing was
Oh,
The micro notches in that thing, man. Those
baby
are the
notch bass
yeah.
tank.
People prefer, or I see a lot of people only collect those baby notch ones like that.
So we just got done talking pretty much a lot about the site and everything going on here. And I know, Gabe, that you're trying to start this Facebook group, or you have started it, the Amateur Archaeologists of Texas. So if you kind of want to go into what your vision is there and what your plans are.
Yeah. So I'll be honest. That group, I started it. I think it's like 6 or 7 years ago. It was about the time that, you know, we had been surface hunting out here for several years, and we kind of just started going to some pay digs and doing some different things and seeing other people, you know, digging and I'll be honest, out here, when I told you guys, I mean, we were surface hunting, everything was stepped on. We were finding pooters. We were finding, you know, a broke base, a broke tip, you know, the side of an arrowhead, you know, missing the tip, whatever.
Bunch of broke purds.
Lots of broke purds. I would post my finds on you know, the big groups,
Texas church.
and you don't get no love, man. You don't
Right.
pooters don't get love, and like they should. No,
Right.
they don't really need that much love. But you know, I mean,
Shout out CHP.
you should appreciate. You know, in my opinion, in that time, and I still feel this way. You know, everything needs to be appreciated. You know, where you're at,
Right.
And I mean, you're finding an artifact, whether it's broken half or it's an ear or whatever. I mean, you found a tip missing a tip. I mean, that's a midsection, and yeah. So, but everything, you know, I felt like, hey, you know, I'm posting my finds, not getting any love. I was like, you know what, you know, start my own little group, and at that point, I had Travis, another buddy of mine, was coming out here and digging with me, and we were just trying to get them pooters some love, man, and. So my thing with that is I've kept that group really small.
Yeah.
I kept it private. I turn away a lot of people. I have a couple rules on there to get in. You know, I just want to make sure that you were in a couple other groups searching for information, kind of like what I did when I first started doing this, right? So if you try to get into my group and you're not in like a couple other, you know, whether even pay dig groups, I'm cool with it. But you're
Right.
seeing what's coming out. I don't want somebody coming in and going, well, check out this rock that fits in my hand, right? So we all know where that leads.
Yeah.
And
Earl.
so that's one of the things is like if you're not in two other like Texas artifact groups, you're not looking hard enough
Right.
because there's a ton of them. Right. So that's the thing is I want to keep it small in that sense. I want it to be people that are looking for information. I want it to be people that are, you know, excited about what they're doing. I've gotten away from posting a lot on there now that I've kind of been posting more just to my own personal you know, Facebook page, but that was the thing. That's how the Amateur Archaeologist name came about. That's how, you know, just kind of got that started and made a name for itself. And here's what I think. And as far as Amateur Archaeologists of Texas, that's not me. That's not John. And John's in all the videos. Everybody thinks John's the amateur archaeologist. It's not me. It's not John. It's not Travis. It's anybody that's walked out and stood out there and gone, I wonder if the Indians were living right here, killing buffalo. I wonder if they were going down there, and I wonder if they would do this. You know, I bet they were right here. You know, just having those thoughts and thinking, you know, what if, or where were they? And then trying to explore more into that and gain more knowledge. You are the amateur archaeologist of Texas. That's you. That's you. That's everybody. Right. That's everybody in you know, this group of you know, this hobby. You know,
I like
in a sense. So that's us. You know, that's all of us. So that's my thing with the Amateur Archaeologist of Texas. And yeah, I feel like it's you know, hey, you don't have to call yourself that, but I thought it, you know, it's just kind of a cool thing. And then leading on to years later, wanting to do something bigger than, you know, just what we're doing here and just going to pay digs and stuff. And I called John. I'm in Walmart one day. I called John. I'm like, man, I think I figured it out. I think I know what I'm gonna do. You know, these guys, you know, get to go take people bass fishing, but that's what they get to do, and they love to do it, right? I want to do something like that. I don't want to run a pay dig. I don't want to run a pay dig because I'm into points too. It wouldn't work out. I'm just telling you right now, right? So I don't want to run a pay dig, but I want to do something. And you know what? I got a little daughter, and I see, you know, I take her out, and I see other people when I go to pay digs, and they bring their kids out, and the thing that I see the most, man, is because not only, you know, we've talked about this, but it's hard to find a good pay dig nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, one that's worth the money of getting out there, and especially if you have to drive far or pay for a hotel and everything that's included, it's hard to find a pay dig, a good pay dig nowadays. So I see these guys, and they bring their kids out, they bring their daughter or their son or sons or whatever, and they get going. And dude, it ain't but an hour in.
30 minutes in.
Yep.
And it happened just 2 days ago. And it came to mind right as it happened. I was thinking, this is why I do my buckets. So we brought Kurt, our buddy of mine, and his daughter out to Page, Texas. We went to go to Ray's, and we dug. And she came with us. She's 9 years old.
Shout out Ray Gilligan.
Yeah, shout out Ray, man. Thanks for
Gilligan.
found some cool points. So we got out there, and it was about an hour in. Dude, that, you know how that sun just reflects off the sand. It's hot. We're not at the beach. There's no
Digging's
cool.
not easy.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
you know, people think that we're out here, you know, oh yeah, this and that, buddy. Shaker table
Come get
or
it.
not, it don't matter.
Yeah, come get you some.
Yeah, and even without that, I will match anybody on a hand table, you know, and
a sand camp is a different kind of.
and if you ain't moving that dirt, you ain't gonna find stuff. And
Right.
What are the chances that a 9-year-old kid is gonna move
Right.
an eighth of the dirt that any adult is going to? You
Yeah,
know? And
yeah.
so, you know,
They're gonna burn out.
They are.
And so, she did, and like I said, it's nothing against her, nothing against anybody else, but the kids are gonna get wore out, and especially if points aren't coming out. And you know, like I said, a lot of these pay digs, it's few and far between where you have one that's gonna keep a kid going. You know, I mean, at least you know, like here, finding these little brokes is like perch, because you find them almost every load. You know, you keep a kid busy.
Like perch.
So, I mean, well, she lasted all 4 hours, your 3.5 hours that we dug yesterday.
Right.
You know, but when nothing's happened for 30, 40 minutes, you know, Dad, can I go sit in the truck? Let's turn on the AC, and can I watch the iPad? And I've seen it happen so many times that I wanted to give folks an opportunity to do what we're doing and not be in the settings that make it so miserable that we can withstand.
Right.
But maybe, you know, the kids that, you know, that aren't even interested in the arrowheads yet, you're trying to get them interested. You're bringing them out there, and you know, it's tough for them.
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity. The buckets that we've been making, we started, you know, making these buckets, putting points in them, putting all sorts of artifacts, and like I said, all pooters need love. We're putting in scrapers, preforms, bottom halves, top halves, midsections, everything that you would find associated with what we're doing, everything that you would have found today, that you know is what we're throwing into buckets, and it's giving everybody an opportunity to do this in a place where they can go inside and go grab a water. They can go inside and finish the bucket tomorrow.
Yep.
They're not
They
on
can do it in
anybody
downtown
else's
Dallas.
time.
Yep.
They can do it in downtown Houston. They don't have to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it brings it to your house. Brings it to them.
Exactly.
Bring it to your house. Go to grandma's with it. Go, go. Grandpa used to dig arrowheads. Let's bring this and go bring grandson and granddad to have them, do something together. And granddad can talk about his arrowheads with grandson. It's just something for folks to connect, in my opinion. And it's family time. And so, right now, I haven't made a website, so I have folks messaging me, and that's what I've told everybody to do. Message me if you're interested, right? And so I've gotten to learn everybody's story because everybody wants to tell me why they want a bucket.
Yeah.
And so I'm loving it. People, I got a guy.
My buddy used to do this,
My
and
buddy-
we used to do that, and
Dude, I sent this bucket off to Washington, and this guy's dad is terminal, has terminal illness, can't get around anymore, can't get out of the house. And he bought this bucket so he can go through it with his dad and do something that they, could connect and do this and just really special. I had a guy hit me up. He lives down by the coast and used to dig with Clint Beckham.
Mm-hmm.
They used to do the rodeo and dig digs like in the mid '90s. Yeah, I was 10.
Really?
So to think about that, and he wanted a bucket. He
That's
goes,
crazy.
dude, hook me up with some Montels and Purds. So it was like, you got it.
That's awesome, man. I know, at Temple, you it's kind of right when you got going with them, and you threw that one into our little raffle thing. BE won it, and his boys went through it. It looked like they loved it, and now he's filled that bucket and sent it somewhere else. I think he sent it to Ray or something. And
Yeah, I think he signed it and sent
Yeah.
it, and
Kinda
they're having
traveling
everybody
around.
sign it and kind of pass it around, which
Yeah.
I think is great.
It's awesome, man.
I think it's and again, that's a way of passing it on, and so many people have just come to me and been like, dude, what you're doing is like killer.
Yeah.
Giving people the opportunity to do this, it's a great idea. Have them doing it at home,
Right.
whatever. If they don't want to do it, that doesn't bother me. The thing about going and doing this at the artifact shows is you got so many guys that already dig,
Right.
and they're coming walking around looking, going, and I can tell what's going on in their mind, and everything starts clicking. They go, well, I got a bucket full of brokes and stuff at my own house.
Yeah.
I could fill one of these buckets up for my kid, or
Yeah.
but then they're like, dude, great idea,
Right.
And so. But then everybody else that doesn't have the opportunity to do it, like these folks that are at the shows and stuff like that are reaching out, it's pretty cool to hear, all the stories and then send me back pictures of their kids, with a frame full of arrowheads.
That's awesome.
So
That is
and,
awesome.
and like you said earlier, not knowing, you're going out on a limb to get a bucket of whatever's in there. They're all dependent on whatever this guy puts in it. It's and so it's the thrill of not knowing what you're gonna get. It's it's that rush of same thing. Every load we put on the screen, you
Right.
never know.
Mm-hmm.
You could go 100 terrible loads, and all it takes is that one good one.
Right.
I
Yeah.
thought a monster Cibolo.
well, I mean, even that load with the base tang earlier had a Purd and then another point, and it was kind of
The
like,
Montel.
whoa,
Yep.
yeah, the Montel. So, yeah.
Yeah, you never know. Like you were saying too earlier, talking about the flood layers and stuff. And we talked about it a little bit today. I mean, a lot of camps, just like John said, you talk to somebody that has any idea of arrowheads, they're immediately, oh, you need to be on the high side, you need to be here, you need to be there. That's not the case all the time. I mean, I've dug, I would say 80 to 90% of the camps I've dug in have some type of flood deposit on them
Right
at some
on the
point.
floodplain.
Right.
Absolutely.
And this camp, same deal. I mean, this is a giant camp, but it's going to flood at times. And just like we had this year, you have those 100-year floods that just do something out of the ordinary, and you're going to get those flood deposits. So just because you hit a flood layer, don't quit digging.
According
And,
to maps, we're in a floodplain right here. The
Really?
edge of that floodplain is right through here.
Yep.
Absolutely.
This is a hell of a site. I mean, it's huge. So, like you're saying, man, you just never know. That first load you dump, Gabe was telling us this morning, he's like, we got this kind of dirt here, we got this over here, we got some flood deposit here. Dump that load. I think we had like 5 or 6 pieces in that first load out of the flood layer, and it was some transitional stuff, some really early archaic Martindale, There was a Montel
That's right.
load.
Yep.
Super nice Fairland. I mean, just a killer load. And
Yeah, it's like it didn't matter the dirt. You'd look at it differently and be like, oh, I don't know, that might not look as good. And then you pull a point out of it.
Right.
And you're like, oh, that looks really good. You pull a point out of it. It's like it doesn't matter what the dirt looks like.
you know.
Because most places you look at, like, go to pay dig, and you look at the dirt, you're like, oh.
that's one of these loads
Oh,
again.
man, I don't know. This one might suck. And, you know, not being knowledgeable with this area at all, I was kind of thinking, I was like, oh, this one might not be good. And then you pull, like you said, 2 or 3 points out of it. So it's
That's
mean,
why. That's why we
wild.
gave you guys a fair warning, because we didn't want
Yeah.
you guys thinking, "Oh,
Hey.
well, this looks totally different than that last one. They must be
Well,
feeding us something crazy." No, they're everywhere.
yeah.
You always hear people like, "Oh, that dirt looks good. That dirt looks good." A few months ago, I told them, I was like, "Man, this dirt looks like shit, but them points are coming out." We ate that dirt up. I mean, it's and it was the truth. You know, the dirt didn't have that look of, you know, a heavy occupation.
Yeah.
But it had the points in it, you know, and so
That's all that matters, man. But that's exactly what you're doing. You're delivering an opportunity to the people that even if it's not, you know, a kid, like you said, the guy in Washington, it could be an inner city kid or an inner city family that seen it on TikTok and they're like, man, that looks cool.
Yep.
Just like a guy we did a podcast yesterday with. He didn't even know what arrowheads were, and we were talking to him. He bow fishes and stuff, and he's like, man, that's pretty cool. You know, I'd be interested in that. Perfect kind of stuff for those types of people, man. It just brings a whole different demographic to the artifact community. And like you were saying, you know, your whole purpose with it is to expand the hobby. Same thing that we stand for with what we're doing here. You know, we're joining the hobbies that we enjoy, tying them to all the different people across Texas with similar mindset. And it's cool to sit here with y'all and be
not
on the
everybody's
side
able
with y'all.
to, you know, get a hold of a place like this. Not
Yeah.
everybody's able to put equipment on a place, you know.
Yeah.
And so having those buckets, being able to give that opportunity to not have to invest, you know, whatever it is, to be able to have, you know, the chance to find something, you know, it's you know, a really good payoff for, you know, everyone. Well, whoever's getting the bucket, you know.
Right.
It's you know, it's just it's a really good idea.
Yeah, it's a badass idea, and I think it's a testament. I mean, I don't know you super well, Gabe, but just from the first time I've met you, from your hospitality today, stuff I've seen you do, man, I think it speaks volumes as to the character you are as a person.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's something we tell every guest we have on. It's people that are like-minded with us.
Yeah, you ain't special. They tell
No,
everybody.
no. We're not really.
We tell everyone.
No.
I'm just messing.
Yeah, no, he's busting your
We're
balls.
not going out and getting everybody to bring onto this podcast. And there's certain people that I don't care what they do in the artifact community, we'll never interview them because they don't align with what I believe.
beliefs.
They don't align with what Christian believes, and
Yep.
that is what it is.
No, I feel
That goes deeper than anything, man.
Right.
That's
But-
100%.
But man, it's been a killer day. Christian, you want to kind of talk about the day, and we can start wrapping this up a little bit. I know y'all got places to be. It's Sunday. Took time out of your day for us to come out here, do this podcast, and time away from families. So I don't want to hold y'all
Hey,
up
we're
too
just
long.
glad y'all cooked us lunch, man.
Yeah,
Thank
man,
you very
yeah.
much.
Hell yeah.
That's one thing. When we go somewhere, dude, everybody talks that we cook. Ryan Murray, he came to the podcast with us, and he still talks about that lunch every time we see him.
Really?
Yeah, it's something we like to do. I like to cook. Richard likes to cook. So, I mean,
You can tell.
it kind
I
of
like to
just,
eat.
yeah, right.
I will say, man, sausages, you know, sausage wraps and bag of chips, man. That's
a hot
been,
commodity out
That
here.
has been like the number one like meal out
Really?
here throughout
Hell
the
yeah.
years. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times we've done that, and it's so easy because
Right.
you just wrap it up, grab it, and go, man, and then you got some more energy for some more loads.
Hell
So,
yeah.
But I mean, digging's tied together so much more. We do like a dig and dove that we call it. We'll come out here and hunt and screen and cook those dove, and you know, make a day of it. We'll come out here and watch UFC fights.
Yeah,
You know,
we've had a
so-
big TV out here. Actually, that yeah,
Oh, yeah.
the
No,
day
dead
that the
ass.
corner tang drill and big old nice St. Gabriel blade had come out the same day, and we're sitting here watching UFC fights. They were in
Hot spot it.
London or something, so they were
Yes,
on
sir.
during the middle of the day, and yeah,
It was actually when Ilya Taporia knocked out Max.
yeah.
Really?
Dead ass, yep.
But yeah, good times, man, out here always.
Just backed the truck
Always.
up right there, had the TV right next to the screen, and
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just you
Yeah,
know,
it is.
live and breathe it. You know, it's runs thick.
Yeah, well, I really do appreciate y'all. Like I said, it's probably one of the best days of digging I've had since I've been doing it, and it's been like 2 years.
Yeah.
And I kind of needed it. It was much needed.
Like I said earlier, it's
glad
what
we
it's
can
about.
put some confidence with you.
You know, being able to have people come out and have that experience, you know, to remember, you know, not just another pay dig, you know, it didn't pay nothing,
Right.
You know, just your time, you know, and it's a good trade-off.
Right. Well, we do appreciate it. We appreciate y'all coming and talking with us. Appreciate y'all having us out. I think we're going to probably wrap it up here. But make sure y'all keep living your hobbies. We'll see you on the next one.
See y'all later.